Hello and welcome back to Courtside on GametimesCT, your place for all things boys and girls high school basketball related to Connecticut. I'm your host, Scott Erickson, the girls basketball writer, and we are joined, as always, by the boys writer, Joe Morelli. Joe, how are you?
I asked for 4 sellouts. The fans delivered with 4 sellouts. We get to talk about it. It was a great week of basketball, and I'm doing just fine.
You're doing just fine. We're right around the corner from conference tournaments. We're going to look at, even though it's a little early, we're going to look at all the conference tournaments today, give you a quick overview of those. We're going to look at what happened last week. Mm-hmm. Joe had a ton of good games. The girls had a bunch of good games. As always, we'll discuss the polls and all that fun stuff. Before we get to that, please remember to like and subscribe to the GametimesCT YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram, where we have videos from all of the games we cover, all the feature stories we do. And, of course, go to GametimesCT.com for all of our stories, our features, our polls, and everything else you need to know about high school sports in Connecticut. All right, Joe, let's get loose in the shoot-around. Joe, I'm just going to pass it over to you right away, let you take the first few layups here. Tell me about last week. What a week.
It was. And speaking of layups, Joey Montalvo is well known for his football exploits at East Catholic. He's in the state high school record book. Which that record may stand for receiving yards for a long time. But he's also now in the annals of great games for East Catholic and boys basketball, as he made his shot with 8 seconds left, as we're seeing here, Folk to Henderson to Montalvo with the layup, as they handed Windsor its first loss at Windsor, 75-74 Friday night, in a spectacular game. I mean, I've been saying this is the best rivalry in the CCC for the past decade, and again, they delivered. And we hear from both Joey Montalvo and Sincere Folk after the game.
Winning at their place, how big of a deal to give them their first loss?
Yeah, big deal. I mean, we knew it was going to come down to this. We've been drilling all week, so great outcome, and I'm glad we got the road win. This is a very big one, big win. We had a disappointing one to start off the week, a big win against Bishop Henderson on Wednesday for their senior night as well. So I feel it's great to just have that momentum carry into this game. It's a big win. They're undefeated, high on the rankings, so I feel like it's a good win for us going forward, going into the playoffs for sure.
As Sincere alluded to, I mean, they started off the week losing at East Hartford. I think we talked about it briefly. At home to East Hartford at the Eagles' Nest. We talked about it briefly on last week's show. And it was a big week for them. And in Bishop Hendricken, at Bishop Hendricken in Rhode Island, they're down double digits. They come back and win in overtime. And they had a sizable lead here against Windsor. Windsor comes back to tie with 30 points in the third quarter. And it was just a great game. And the last game was 87-81 Windsor. So this is the rivalry in the league. And again, both Windsor in Division II, East Catholic Division I, they're going to be very difficult outs. And in fact, Windsor's probably the favorite, obviously, in Division II. So the second game we were going to go through is Notre Dame pulling away from West Haven 72-57 in a game that was, again, sold out. It's a tough place to play. Notre Dame has not lost there since 2018. Notre Dame has gotten used to playing without Abdou Toure, who missed several games due to an injury, and he's been in foul trouble. And he was in foul trouble in this game. As you see here, he picked up his 4th foul. He sat a lot of the first half with 3 fouls. And the team not only was able to maintain the lead, but they were able to hold off West Haven, who was trying to pull off that upset. But again, it was an incredible performance by Kadrian Reeves in that game, the point guard, and we hear from him now.
What does it say about your team? Your best player goes down, but you guys have 10, 11 guys that can score, and a lot of you guys off the bench tonight played really well.
We just have a lot of depth in our team, so we know if somebody's down, we could take the next person and still compete against any team in the state.
Talking about playing in an atmosphere like this.
It's great. It's great. A lot of energy from both teams. It's great.
Yeah, Joe,
Yeah, I'm
Joe,
sorry, go ahead.
what a great, I mean, look, you never want your star player to go down. You don't want anyone injured. But what a great thing for Notre Dame West Haven to have that confidence going forward that, like, hey, if he gets in foul trouble, we're good here. Like, we can handle this.
8 seniors, and 8 of them were acknowledged last night, Tuesday night, against Hill House, their last home game. They beat Hill House again for the second time to finish unbeaten during the regular season in Connecticut. They have the 3 losses outside. Yeah, they have a lot of confidence. And, they've won 2 Division I titles in a row. So this group, that's why they are the big favorite to win in Division I.
Special group of kids.
It is. And, now, the pressure's on. I mean, they got to finish the deal now, which is not going to be easy because you got a lot of good teams in one.
Everyone's coming for you.
What's that?
Everyone's coming for them.
Every time's coming for them. And, one of those teams is Staples. And Staples is still undefeated. They beat St. Joe's last night. But last week in the top 10 matchup, they were able to beat Trumbull at home. They pulled away from them, in fact, in the second half. It was an impressive performance, a balanced effort. Mason Tobias and Slammy Clacko didn't even score in the first half because Sean Wilson was able to hold them down. But Sam Clacko can hurt you in other ways. He's the point guard. He finds people. He makes great passes. One of this move was incredible here, and he had a great outlet pass to end the third quarter. In fact, nope, that's not it. But anyway, the thing about Staples is they play very good defense. They may lack a big man, but they're going to be tough, and they love playing in Division I. And Mason Tobias had a double-double in that game, and we hear from him now.
A sellout crowd. God only knows what the last time Staples had one. I'm curious what your thoughts about playing in an atmosphere like this and what it means.
I mean, that was the most fun I've had playing a basketball game, I think, ever. I mean, great showing by our student section. Gym was sold out, and it felt like it. It was electric to play in.
Nobody really knows exactly when the last time Staples had a sellout crowd. It was kind of weird seeing a number 3 team bum rush the court to beat the number 8 team, but that was Trumbull's first loss, and Trumbull has struggled a little bit since then, losing to Richfield on the road.
Look, playing in front of a crowd like that's a once in a lifetime for most people experience.
It is, and you can only hope you get the opportunity again. And and the records are really good. I mean, and people ask me, "How's good Staples? Are they really that good?" And I said, "Yeah, they play good defense. They're balanced, and they all can shoot it." So yeah, they may lack size and the athleticism of some of the teams in Division I, but they're very good. And I mean, Dave's done a really good job with that team.
Solid across the board.
Yeah, and Trumbull's good too, man. Like I said, they were down 13 at halftime last night to New Canaan and came all the way back to beat them. So they may have been on the struggle bus, so to speak, but they're going to be fine, and they're going to be a tough out in Division II. Speaking of tough outs, one of the other 3 remaining undefeated teams is Woodland. And, to get a non-conference matchup this late in the year is a joy. And they played at North Haven. And North Haven, has been one of the better teams in the SEC this year. And they had played I actually was watching this a little bit during the Staples game on the video just to see some stuff. And Woodland's very good. I mean, Napio and the crew, they have, again, you go undefeated on your schedule during the regular season, it says something. And they're ranked for a reason. They're the favorite in the NBL. They've never done anything in the NBL, but this year might be just the year. And like I said, John Napio has led that team, and we spoke to him after the game.
Huge crowd, basically, 2 teams in the top 11 in the state, we call it that. I mean, what did you guys do to get this done tonight in such a great atmosphere?
It was very energetic, and it was a great team win. Our guys came in with energy off the bench. That really helped us out a lot, and I think that moving forward, we just got to keep doing what we're doing and come out in the second half strong.
Scott.
Huge win for Woodland. That
was probably the most impressive of the sellouts because, again, I don't know the last time North Haven was ever sold out, and the fact that they were able to get however many people it was, I mean, that's impressive. And North Haven, I think, is going to be the 1 seed in the SEC tournament based on their schedule. So they've had a really good, 19-1. You'd sign up for that right today, now. 100%. You would have signed up for it December 1st. So, and Woodland too. So, the NBL tournament we're going to talk about in a little while. They're going to play that one, see there, and then they go to Division IV. and they're going to be the favorite there. And again, people are going to the target's on their back now. So it's interesting to see. Whereas all these teams we've talked about over the years, the Crosbys, the Trinity Catholics when they were in existence, you're always the team to beat. Hill House. Now it's different. Can Woodland handle it? That's the difference now versus what it was.
Well, what do you have, Joe? 3 left? 3 undefeated teams left?
3. Ellington, who was won 45 in a row, Staples, and Woodland. We lost 3 last week. Trumbull, Windsor, and who did we lose? Trumbull, Woodland, and who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting somebody else.
North Haven.
Sorry, North Haven. Yes, thank you. So, yeah.
And look, if they can make it through the conference tournaments, then they have the hardest job of all is to go into the state tournament undefeated. We had something on the other end of the spectrum too on the boys' side, Joe. What happened down in Westbrook?
Yeah, we know the coach Garrett, our old friend from Norwalk.
Yep, Garrett Hickey.
He's arisen from the ashes. No, just kidding. But he's at Westbrook, and this is his first year. He was an assistant last year. First year he's teaching down there, and they had lost 52 games in a row. It's been so. I mean, and for them to again, it's Parish Hill, but they win at Parish Hill. So I mean, listen, any win at this point is good. You lose 52 in a row. You celebrated, and there's a tweet on about them celebrating in the locker room, which is really cool. And, kudos to them because you could just all quit and just give it up. And, again, 52-game losing streak. The last team they beat was in December of 2023 against Wright Tech. So,
people ask us, Joe, when we're covering big games and stuff, who do you like? Who do you like this team, that team? And honestly, most times we don't care, right, who wins these games.
No.
When there's teams in situations like Westbrook, I think we universally all kind of root for them to pick up a victory.
Yeah.
At some point, yeah.
You know what? These are kids playing kids' games. And
high school basketball, yeah.
Easy to, again, fall in a situation where there's no hope. You don't want to go to practice. But these guys are winning a game in February for the first time all year. To me, that says something regardless of the opponent.
Yeah, and then you had a buzzer beater too. As you talked about it, New Canaan lost a tough one to Trumbull last night, and before that they had an even tougher one.
Yeah, St. Joe's Dwayne Sample hit us an 8-foot pull-up jumper, and ended up beating New Canaan. It was an important win for them as far as just getting in the tournament postseason. I don't know how it really impacts the cadets on the FCIAC tournament. That league is just so brutal. It just is. I mean, New Canaan. Again, there's all these tough losses. Trumbull is struggling right now. Ridgefield loses by 20 at home to Wilton, comes back and beats Trumbull. It's crazy. That's why for Staples to be able to be 2 wins short of running the table in the FCIAC, I think we've talked about it and you've mentioned it's unheard of, and I think it's going to happen. I really do.
Yeah, and then they got to go into their tournament and see if they can do it again, if they can beat Trumbull, Ridgefield, New Canaan, whoever they get the second time, because in the FCIAC they only play teams once, so the second time would be in the FCIAC tournament, and Staples always gets up for that, but then Ridgefield's always so good, Wilton's always so good in those tournaments, so
yep.
Who knows what they're going to get. All right, let's switch over to the girls' side real quick here. Last week, Northwest Catholic played Bristol Central. I went up to that game. Northwest Catholic ended up kind of dominating the game. They were up 11-2, ended up winning 78-63. It just showed how good they are. They're so deep with a bunch of players that come off the bench, in addition to Maeve Staunton and Abby Casper, who are all-state players. And they were going against Nicole Reamer of Bristol Central and Kamaria Bowens of Bristol Central, in their own right, all-state players. And the 4 of them just all had great games. Watching Reamer and Casper go at each other down in the blocks all night was probably my favorite matchup that I've seen in years. They're both such good players. They both played good defensive plays. They both scored. One scored 25, one scored 24. It was a good win for Northwest Catholic, and we talked to Maeve Staunton, the point guard for Northwest, after the game.
Last regular season game at home, how good does it feel to come out of here with a W?
It feels really good, especially because it's on senior night, so there's an added pressure on senior night, but it was good to come out with a strong win.
You guys seem like you're the best when you're moving the ball around, everyone's touching it. Did you guys feel like that was working tonight?
Yeah, definitely this time of the season we're starting to hit our climax and starting to get together and get ready for the postseason.
Yeah, like I said, I think Northwest Catholic's a good team, and they were really handled by I think Bristol Central's a really good team, and they were handled by Northwest Catholic. Northwest Catholic is going to be tough to beat. There's teams in Division One that can do it, but you're going to have to be on your game to beat them. Speaking of wins and speaking of Division One coaches, 300 wins for handman coach Amanda Forcucci. Amanda Forcucci, one of our favorite coaches, Joe and I both, won her 300th game on Sunday. They played a game on Sunday against Foreign, won 45-34. She's only been coaching for 16 seasons. She's already 387, which is like a 77% winning percentage, which is crazy. She's won 2 state championships back-to-back, 2023, 2024, 5 SEC championships in 6 years from 2019 to 2024. Amanda Forcucci, big applause to her. Great job she does with that program. Public school in the SEC, and she just keeps winning.
And they won, how many SEC championships over the last decade? 3 or 4?
They won 5 in 6 years from 2019 to 2024. So
and that's pre and post pandemic, which is pretty impressive because some teams, it took a while for them to recover out of the pandemic, and we all forget sometimes that she was on the other end of that Mercy buzzer beater in 2013 when she coached at Laurelton Hall. So she's been around. She's done a nice job, and again, you win in that league with Mercy and Sacred Heart Academy, you've accomplished something. And having those 2 kids who went to Charleston, that didn't hurt her either.
Right. They had Tania Thompson before that, for the first kind of run that was before the pandemic. And they sort of maintained through it. They won that split championship with Sacred Heart that one year. But great job. I mean, Hamden is, when you point to premier public school programs in Connecticut, Amanda Forcucci runs them as well as anyone, in my opinion. Sure. Heck of a person too.
Yes.
So then last night, Rocky Hill took on Southington. Southington's been just outside the top 10. They lost a lot of kids from their team last year. They led in this game by 9 points in the second half. Rocky Hill comes back, wins 62-59 for their 10th straight victory. They're the number 1 ranked team in Division 2. If they win their last game, they'll be the number 1 ranked team in Division 2. Sorry, they have 2 more games. They have Wethersfield and they have a makeup game with Berlin, which doesn't look like it's on the schedule, but at some point I figure they have to play it. Kelsey LeMay had 20 points last night. Katie Harding had 16 points. They're 17-1. Rocky Hill's the number 4 team in the state. And they're just going to make that Division 2 tournament really, really, really fun. All right, that was a long shoot around, Joe, but we are loose. Let's get into the polls here. I don't think there's a lot to report in the polls. Let's take a look at the girls' poll first. All the same teams. Again, kind of shuffled around. The biggest mover here was that Rocky Hill moved up from 7 to 4. Well-deserved after they beat New Britain last week. All right, Joe, let's jump over to the boys' poll and see what's shaking over there real quick.
Well, we have, a lot of shifting around. East Hartford, first time in the top 10. Again, you beat East Catholic. You're going to find a way in. They only have the 3 losses. Staples moved up to number 2 with Windsor losing its first game. Notre Dame Prep moved to 3, Windsor 4. East Catholic stayed right where it was despite the loss to East Hartford because they beat Bishop Hendricken and they go and they win at Windsor. Allington is now tied for 6th with West Haven, again with a 45-game winning streak. West Haven had 2 straight losses to Notre Dame, West Haven, and Springfield Central, at their place. Obviously that's a tough place to play. Woodland moved up. Northwest Catholic moved down with its loss to Hall. I know we've noticed some comments from our readers, from our listeners, from our viewers, feeling that, why is Windsor dropped? Well, you do lose in state, you drop, and they lost at home. Now, are they the 4th best team in the state? Probably not, but, Notre Dame Prep has only lost 1 game in state in overtime to Colby, and Staples has yet to lose. So, those things take care of themselves, as we said often before. And, people are like, oh, Woodland shouldn't be this. It doesn't matter. You win games, you move up. That's just the way it is. And people are wondering where about Plata Meriden. Well, Plata Meriden, they'll find their way. They win one big game in the SEC tournament against one of those upper echelon teams. You'll move up.
That's all it takes. You beat the teams that are ahead of you, and you move up.
Yep.
We're going to get into the conference tournaments here too, and we know wild things can happen in the conference tournaments, big swings, big upsets. Obviously, the fields are not set for all of these tournaments yet, but by the time we're on next week, most of them will be in full swing, especially for the girls. The NVL starts this weekend. A lot others start Monday, Tuesday. So today, Joe and I are going to run through every single tournament. We're going to give you a winner, even though we don't know the brackets, so we don't know the matchups. it's going to make it a little tough, but we're going to sort of pick these blind, pick the team that we think is going to come out of here, and maybe some other teams that can make some noise. All right, let's go alphabetically, Joe. Let's start the Berkshire League. What do you like for the boys in the Berkshire League?
There's going to be a lot of chalk here. But anyway, Nonawag has had a great year. They have one loss to St. Paul. They went unbeaten in the league, much like Chappaqua Valley did last year. So I find it hard to believe that anybody's going to be able to beat them. So I like Nonawag. My sleeper will be Chappaqua with James Kirsten. He's on his way to 2,000 career points. It's a dangerous team. They obviously have not had as good a year, losing what they lost to graduation. But there's a team that knows how to win when it has to. So that's my sleeper team. But Nonawag is the clear favorite.
Yeah. So for the girls, Thomaston and Lakeview played a great game earlier this year. They play again this coming Friday to close out the regular season. I think they're clearly the best two teams in the Berkshire League for the girls. Lakeview is only in their second year of existence. Obviously, that was Wamogo and Litchfield that combined into one school. I like Thomaston here. I think they'll be on opposite sides of the bracket, not sure, but I like Thomaston. Thomaston is the Berkshire League as far as I'm concerned, and to win that league, you have to knock the Bears off. So I'm going to go with Thomaston for the girls in the Berkshire League. All right, Joe. CCC, obviously CCC is going to be a wild tournament for the boys and the girls. What do you think, your initial thoughts for the CCC?
I think it's Windsor. I do, because I think they're going to be annoyed enough having lost the one game on senior night to go through this field. I mean, I think they're the best team. I think they've proven they're the best team. One loss doesn't deter that. It's going to be very hard to beat them on a neutral floor at the University of Hartford or wherever. My sleeper, I actually went with Platt. I just think, again, they play a hard schedule. They've lost to Northwest Catholic. They've lost to Windsor. I think it was East Hartford they lost to, but they beat Bloomfield. Again, you could go a number of different ways, Northwest Catholic, East Catholic, but my sleeper is going to be Platt.
Wow, if Platt can get through there, I would say that's incredibly impressive for Platt. I mean, I think making the Final Four in the CCC would be remarkable enough, considering who's in that field with Northwest Catholic and East Catholic and Windsor. I mean, it's just such a stacked field.
Yep.
It's also fairly stacked on the girls' side. The funny thing is, Northwest Catholic's won 3 straight state championships. They have not won the CCC in that time.
That's right.
That's right. And they were talking about that the other day. They were like, listen, we have not won the CCC. We're going into that CCC tournament, and these kids want to win that thing. Right. There are some good teams around them, obviously. Rocky Hill, the team we were just talking about, is fantastic. Certainly, I think they have 4 really good seniors, but 2 especially. They can knock off Northwest Catholic on the right night. Southington's very strong. New Britain obviously only has 1 loss to Rocky Hill. So there's a bunch of teams in the mix here. And East Catholic. Let's not forget about East Catholic. But for my pick for the CCC, for the first time in their 4-year run here, I'm going to take Northwest Catholic to win the CCC. All right, Joe. CTC. The tech schools. What do you got?
I like Wyndham Tech. I mean, I don't know where exactly. Again, I don't know how the seating goes. It's always kind of different, give it an East and a West. But I mean, between Brady Marsh and the fellas, I think they're the best team in the CTC. I mean, Gross Tech's good. And my sleeper is Abbott Tech out of Danbury. I think they played a decent schedule. I think they're the best on the other side. If that's how they seed it, I think they can meet in the final. That would be my sleeper, co-favorite, whatever you want to call it, for the CTC.
Yeah, on the girls' side, Wilcox Tech has not lost a game in the conference, so I'm going to just stick with them. I think that they'll win this thing. There's a few teams in the mix, too. Prince Tech has had a good year, and a few other schools. It's hard because they don't all play each other all season. But I'm going to go with Wilcox Tech simply because they have not lost a conference game yet, and I think they'll ride that right into the tournament. All right, Joe, the GHC, the Greater Hartford Conference. A lot of people don't know that's a new conference, kind of replaced the CRAL. So what do you have on the boys' side for the GHC?
Well, speaking of new, SMSA had won 4 in a row in the NCCC, lost last year to Ellington. They have moved to the GHC and kind of picked up where they left off. They've been the best team in the regular season. I think they'll win this league. I don't know who challenges them, honestly. Hartford Public has had a nice year playing in this league, former CCC team. Aerospace, well, believe they won 16 straight to start last year. They haven't been up in the public eye as much because not having the winning streak to start, but I think they can be a sleeper here. But I think SMSA is a clear favorite.
Yeah, I like them too. Girls side, GHC, Weaver's 15-2. They got a great mix of seniors and a really strong freshman class, which has kind of been leading them. Parish Hill's the next team here, but Weaver, beat them pretty handily in the regular season. So I'm going to stick with Weaver to win the GHC. All right, Joe, we got 2 tournaments in the ECC, of course, Division 1 and Division 2. Why don't you give us both? Give us your Division 1 and Division 2 outlooks for the ECC.
Okay, well, I like New London. I know they split with Fitch. They've been kind of on the cusp of the top 10. We're in, we're out. You don't know which team's going to show up sometimes. I think the good New London is going to show up at the Mohegan Sun, and I think they're going to win. I tell you what, and the other team they lost to was NFA. NFA struggled to start the year, but they played with some really good teams, and they have some tough losses. I think NFA's played really well of late. They only lost to East Hartford by 2. I think they can win the ECC Division 1 as well. That's my sleeper pick. Griswold is a perennial favorite in Division 2. And I think they're the best team, and I think Stonington would be a sleeper.
Yeah, on the girls' side, what happens sometimes in the ECC is, and it happened last year with Wyndham and with Bacon Academy, is that the Division 2 sometimes maybe is a little stronger. This year, I think that might be the case. So in Division 1, I like Woodstock Academy. East Lyme has had a really strong season as 2 also, but Woodstock Academy's only loss in the ECC has come to Ledyard this year. And speaking of Ledyard, they're the ones I really like to win D2. They haven't lost inside the league. They're right in the mix with only 3 losses overall for the Division 2 tournament. Maggie Dykes has been playing fantastic this year, and I really like Ledyard to come out and win the Division 2 tournament in the ECC. All right, Joe, now we got a tough one for you, the FCIAC. Now, you can go chalk here, but, man, it feels like there's like 8 teams that could win this thing.
I don't know about 8. Close. I mean, maybe all 4 or 5.
Maybe 6. Maybe 6.
I will tell you, it's going to be hard for Staples to win it just if they go undefeated, because it just gets harder when you don't lose a game. It's just natural. But I'm going with them to repeat. It was obviously great. They've been in this. It would be the 3rd straight year they're in the final. They lost to Trumbull 2 years ago. You saw them beat Richfield last year, Scott. They're in Mahoney Arena where Fairfield U and Fairfield Prep play. So that'd be a great venue for it. I think Richfield is going to be on the other side in the final. I would, again, not knowing seeding. I would never call them a dark horse, but I think that's the only other team I think that'll get there. I think it's going to be hard for, Ludlow possibly. I just don't know how many other teams can get there and get through that gauntlet. I think we always see an upset seeding wise in that tournament. It seems like, or 2. But I think Staples is the best team, and I think they're going to prove it.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of 8-1 upsets in that.
Yes, you have.
Over the years. The girls' side, I think, is just as wide open in the FCIAC.
Yeah.
Trumbull beat Greenwich. Greenwich beat Staples. Staples beat Trumbull. St. Joe's beat Trumbull. Ward is hanging around in there. They're a very solid team. Richfield's hanging around in there. They're always a tough team. This is really hard. I went back and forth several times on this. I'm going to go with Greenwich. I'm going to go with Zuri Faison, Matty Utstinger, and that crew. I think Trumbull's fantastic. I think Trumbull can make a run and win this thing too, but I'm going to pick Greenwich to win the FCIAC on the girls' side. All right, Joe. The NCCC. NCCC. We have an undefeated team up there.
We do, and I don't see how they're going to lose. They won every game in the league by double digits. We mentioned they've won 45 in a row. Interestingly, they beat NFA back in December by 2, which speaks to maybe NFA's strength and them being a sleeper or a winner in ECC Division 1. Listen, I just think they're the best team, and they're going to repeat, and then they're going to be the favorite in Division 3. I think people may think if they played in a better conference, but we're going to find all that out. But 45 in a row is 45 in a row, and it's going to be possibly 50 by the end of the NCCC tournament. So
it's truly unbelievable. I don't care what league you're in. That is unbelievable. Like I said, part of that was a state tournament run last year. So
yes,
I don't want to hear that they're in a weak conference or anything else like that. They are legit Ellington. NCCC on the girls' side, I see it coming down to 2 teams. There's a few others in the mix here, but I think, Suffield and Coventry are the 2 best teams all year. Suffield, obviously, with Hazel Qua, have had a really successful year. But I like Coventry. They're young. They have a really strong sophomore class, highlighted by Haley Mayo and others. So I'm going to take Coventry to win the NCCC on the girls' side. All right, another undefeated team here, Joe. NVL is an undefeated team. So what do you think about the NVL tournament?
It's a real big shock that I'm going to go with Woodland, but I just think they're the best team, and they've proven it all year long, and they beat Holy Cross by 20, and they handled Wilton out of the league, and they beat Crosby. And then again, in that league, you play everybody for the most part. Other leagues, you don't get to see everybody. Despite the fact that he just slipped into the tournament, I'm going to go with Waterbury Career as my sleeper. They've won the last few. Until you beat them, they're still there. So I think that's my sleeper. I would not be shocked at all if they made it to the semis or final. Win it, maybe, but until you beat them.
You beat them. Tough one on the girls' side. Ansonia's obviously had an incredible year. Seymour's obviously had an incredible year. It sounds weird here in the NBL to not be talking about Holy Cross and St. Paul, but I think this one comes down to Seymour or Ansonia. I just sort of picked out of the hat, and I'm going to take Seymour. I think Seymour's a little better. If Ansonia wins, am I surprised? No. Is Ansonia a great story? Yes. One of the great seasons they've ever had at that school since they were winning state championships in the early 80s. But for the NVL on the girls' side, I'm going to pick Seymour. All right, Joe. SEC. Let's shock the world here. Who do you got in the SEC?
There's no shock here. There's no shock here. They're winning their 5th in a row. So Notre Dame, you have your rich chance if guys are injured, but if guys are healthy, they're not. You don't beat Notre Dame when they're at their best. So I think they go to Quinnipiac, and I think they win it. Here's what I will say: with North Haven likely the 1 seed in the tournament, you're going to have West Haven and Notre Dame on the other side of the bracket in the semifinal. So that's going to, and we saw what happened. No, West Haven was in the game until late. So that's my sleeper, if you want to call it a sleeper or co-favor or whatever you want to say. I don't think anybody else wins it besides those 2 teams. I just don't. I know Hill House has been in the last 3 finals.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about. Hill House could get a draw there that could be very favorable to them.
They could, but if they're on the same side, then no. It's you want to be on the other side with North Haven and whoever else is over there. No disrespect, but that's the easier side. It just is. And then you got
no disrespect. It's obvious if you're on the other side of Notre Dame, West Haven, it's the better side to be on.
Of course, right?
Yeah.
And West Haven, because West Haven's only lost to them.
Yeah.
So and in the state, so I tell you what, Notre Dame West Haven semifinals is going to be brutal bloodbath, man. It's just going to that's just the way it is. So but until you beat them, Notre Dame.
We're going to go to the girls' side here. Sacred Heart's had a fantastic year. Obviously, Mercy knocked them off. Sacred Heart also beat Mercy this year. Sacred Heart has beaten Sheehan twice, who I think is the next best team in this league. There's a few other teams that could make a little bit of noise here, but I really think that this is Sacred Heart's conference to win. It would be great if they and Mercy met up again. We'll see if that happens in terms of where the draw ends up. But with Maddie Burke and JJ Kirk and Molly Gunning and Leela Harmon, I just think Sacred Heart's going to be too much, and I like them to win the SEC championship for the 2nd time in a row. All right, Shoreline. The Shoreline, Joe. I'm actually very interested to see who you pick in the Shoreline on the boys'
Are you
side.
Really?
I am.
Well,
I don't really know much about it, so let me hear.
See, the things about some of these leagues is sometimes you playing not only home sites for quarterfinals, which mostly everybody is other than the NBL, that you're playing them for the semis. And Shoreline is one of those leagues. So you want to be one of those top 2 seeds. And Oldham and Cromwell are going to be the top 2 seeds, and they're going to meet in the final, and Oldham's going to win it again. So I have Cromwell as my dark horse, but are they really a dark horse? Probably not. So if I had to pick a dark horse, Haddam Killingworth, maybe. But again, I don't see anybody besides these 2 teams on the way to the finals at Polson Middle School in Madison.
A few teams have had good seasons on the Shoreline for the girls, but none better than Morgan. Sadie Pasante has had a fantastic season. She scored in double digits every single night. I think it's possible for North Branford, the Thunderbirds, to make a run here too, but I'm going to pick Morgan to win the Shoreline on the girls' side. All right, last one, Joe. The SWC. This one might seem obvious too, but who do you got in the SWC for the boys?
Well, I have until they beat them, the other Notre Dame Prep.
Right.
Again, they've only lost the one game in state in overtime at the Shoe so if they don't have to play at the Shoe and play against Colby, I think they'll be okay. Colby could be one of those sleepers, but I have Stratford High. I think Stratford High has played well of late. They beat Bunnell the other day. They only have 3 losses, one of them to Trumbull, another to Notre Dame Prep, and I forget the other one. But they've beaten Colby. I think that's a team that can make the final, which are at Western Connecticut State. So I would not be shocked if it's them. But Notre Dame Prep is going to be very hard to beat again.
Yeah, on the girls' side, Notre Dame Prep is an up-and-coming team. They're young. They got a lot of juniors and sophomores, freshmen, including Maria Collins' daughter, who is a freshman on that Notre Dame Prep team. But I like Newtown here, I think. Jeremy O'Connell does a great job with that team. I know they lost to Bethel in overtime last night. Bethel's had a fantastic season, as we discussed last year. But I really like Newtown to come into this tournament and win. They have not won this tournament since 2019. Samantha Diasporo has had a fantastic year for Newtown. I think that defensively they put some things together here, and Newtown makes a run. You know, Jeremy O'Connell's a great guy despite being a Seattle Seahawks fan. So congratulations to Jeremy on that one, but hopefully he'll get an SWC championship here too. All right, Joe. That was fun. We'll see how those picks play out over the next 2 weeks. Now we're going to move to what's become everyone's favorite segment of the show.
Yeah.
Guess the All-State Team with Joe Morelli. For those of you who don't know, I pick an All-State team from 2003 forward. When Joe's been making the All-State teams, I will give him all the players on the All-State team, minus the MVP and minus the year. Joe has to guess as quickly as he can, based on the names that I give him, the year and the MVP.
All right.
Joe, are you ready?
I'm ready. Go ahead.
All right. I hope you don't get this too fast. Greg DeSantis, Notre Dame Fairfield.
Former Gatorade winner.
Former Gatorade winner, that's right.
Yes.
So we're starting there. Josh Turner, Sacred Heart.
Yep.
Darius Watson, New Britain.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Evans, Stanford.
Yep.
Jeremy Moore, Hillhouse. Steve Samuels, Windsor.
Yep.
Will Ty, Xavier. Tobin Carberry, Hamden.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian Satchel, Windsor.
Yep.
Tevin Baskin, Trinity Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
And the last player who's not the MVP is Anthony Ireland for Crosby. So what year is this? And who's the MVP? It's a hard one. It's a hard one. You talk it out if you want to talk it out. I thought Jeremy Moore might be
I have my area. I'm trying to remember. Oh boy.
When was DeSantis the Gatorade Player of the Year?
I'm trying to remember when he was. Turner. I'm in that.
Tevin Baskin.
Hold on.
Oh,
he was not. It is 2008. Yes.
2008, 2009. So
yeah, I got it wrong. No, I got it wrong. Okay,
you got it wrong. 2008, 2009.
Okay. No.
And who's the MVP? It's tough.
Was it the kid from East Hartford? No.
Hold
on. It wasn't Sherrard. It was the year before. Oh, God. Hold on. 09. Hold on. I'll come up with it. Oh, God.
I can't believe we got kind of stumped him here.
What team? Can you tell me what team?
What school he's from?
Yeah.
Torrington.
Oh, Jordan Williams. Yeah,
Jordan Williams from Torrington was the MVP. Joe, when I
2009.
saw
You
this
guys
one, I was like,
stumped me. Good
this is a
job.
tough one. This is a tough one.
Good job. No, that's a really good. I mean, it's kind of funny. We did a video thing that year where we brought Tevin and Jordan as our two best players, and we did a video session. It was like when we were first starting video. It was at St. Joe's because there was like a neutral place for both kids to get to from Stanford and from Torrington, and it was really cool thinking about all the stuff we do now. But yeah, that's a good team. I had 07 written, 08, and then it was 09. Yeah.
So close, Joe. So close. I give you a lot of credit for that. I would not have gotten that one in a million years. So
well, I got a few. Well, that's okay.
Good job, Joe. Good job. I mean, you didn't get it, but good job piecing it together. You were pretty close. So
yeah.
All right, we'll give another one next week. That was Guess the All-State Team. Now we're going to move over to the mailbag. Mailbag time. Courtside mailbag. Here we go. Thank people for sending in their questions. This week, they say, who's got the best jerseys in the state? Oh, man, I love jerseys. I used to write a uniform column for back in the day called Unibrows. I haven't done it in a while, but I'll go first, Joe. For the girls, I love Mercy's like checkerboard side paneling, but my favorite, I have to say, and I'm going to choose two here because they're very similar, is Thomaston and Stonington. I love the brown and gold combo, and I think we just have photos of Thomaston in their white unis, which I do like. Like I really like the lettering on the Thomaston, but when they're wearing the brown, oh my God. I don't know what it is about the brown. I don't know if I have a secret fantasy of being a UPS driver. I just love the brown uniform. Thomaston, Stonington, both the brown, both the Bears. I'm taking those two. What do you think about the boys' side, Joe?
Well, it was not so much a jersey as it was the warm-ups. I liked East Catholic's warm-ups. I especially like the fact they come out in their hoodies and they have them on their head and they come out to it wherever they are. It was at Windsor the other night and they wore the hood and I think it's kind of cool. I'm probably blanking on a lot of others, so please, people out there, feel free to send us your complaints or your picks with pictures to our IG account, GametimesCT. I like to know. Maybe we'll mention them on next week's show, just because I'm sure I'm forgetting several. But I like how they come out to it with the hoods on. I just think it's kind of
I like that.
I could get down with that. I kind of like it.
I was like, that's why I always liked Harding back in the day when they had the striped pants and
Harding, the Presidents. Oh God,
Presidents had the best warm ups ever.
The Harding in the gold, right? Didn't they come out in the gold?
Yeah, gold and blue and gold stripes.
Charlie Bentley was on the sideline. Oh boy.
Oh yeah, Charlie Bentley. Those were the days. Those were the days. That's when our guy Sean Patrick Boley even used to be out at games.
Yes.
All right, Joe. Let's take a look at some games to watch. I know a lot of our games to watch that we wrote up this week happened Monday or Tuesday.
Yep.
So we have a couple left. What do you got on the boys' side for games to watch here?
Well, we've talked about Trumbull a lot, and I mean, again, they come from behind to win at home against New Canaan. They're playing Fairfield Ludlow again. That's a team that's had a great year and almost beat Staples at home, and they're in the hunt for an FCIAC title. I think that's a big game for FCIAC tournament seeding purposes. Excuse me. And then you have Ellington at O-line on Friday night, weather permitting. O-line again, the favorite in the shoreline. Ellington challenged itself this year playing Newington out of conference. They played NFA, and they beat one at Xavier. So now they're going to play at Old Lyme and again put the streak on the line, and they can conclude the regular season at 20-0, get ready for the postseason. I just think I love non-conference matchups, and I like them late in the year. And to me, this is very intriguing. Again, it's good for both teams going into the postseason to play this game, I think.
100%. On the girls' side, I got two games also on the girls' side, both on Friday night. First, NFA at Ledyard. Look, Ledyard and Maggie Dykes are trying to finish the season unbeaten inside the ECC. They've lost games, but not lost inside the league. They're also trying to lock up a top 4 seed in Division II, which would be huge, meaning that they don't have to leave Ledyard to go play a quarterfinal game, and someone's got to drive across the state to come out to Ledyard and play them. So I'm sure Ledyard wants to do that. They've had a fantastic year. The other game that I mentioned briefly earlier is Thomaston at Lakeview Friday at 7. Thomaston beat Lakeview 42-35 the first time. Now they're moving over to Litchfield. Thomaston has not lost inside the Berkshire League, and Lakeview's only loss was to Thomaston. This game's also probably going to determine the number 1 seed in the Division 5 tournament, as they're both near the top of those standings. 3 times in one show I mentioned Thomaston, but hey, we're getting near March, so it's Thomaston's time to shine. All right, Joe, that was a fun episode. Next week when we come back, the conference tournaments will have been started. We'll talk about that a little bit. We'll talk about some other things. The week after that's going to be our huge blowout state tournament preview show, which is, I think, my favorite show of the year to do. I don't know how you feel about it, but we're getting to the fun, really, really fun part of the year, Joe. I hope you're geared up for it.
Well, we've already started with our bulletin board material, and
right.
And we'll be having more and more for those people out there who think we don't know what we're talking about. So
we gave them bulletin board material before the brackets are even out, so that's
absolutely.
All right, listen, we'll be live again next week. As always, don't forget to leave us a comment on Instagram, on YouTube, anywhere that you're watching the show. Send us questions for anything you want us to discuss next week. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. And as always, go to GametimesCT.com to read all of our fantastic stories. So, for Joe, for producer Danny, I'm Scott. We'll see you next week on Courtside.